All right, and welcome back to Logan Simmons Photography. Great to have you here, and if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel and like this video so you can see all these videos right when they come out, and show your support by liking the video. I appreciate it a lot. Now today I want to talk about Topaz Studio version 2. Now you remember last week, and if you haven't seen it, there'll be a link up there on YouTube. We reviewed their Adjust AI product, and basically it was a photo editor with a lot of different cool little presets. You could add effects to the picture, but it wasn't quite as comprehensive as you might have liked. But today I want to focus on Studio 2 from Topaz Labs, and basically it kind of starts where Adjust AI left off, though I do think their Studio product came out before Adjust AI, but then it adds some more options. That's the kind of the way I looked at it there. They're not quite the same, but it almost seems like an expanded version of the Adjust AI program. So the program is available as a plugin for Photoshop and Lightroom, and possibly some other photo editors, and then it's also a standalone program. But I'm going to go ahead and bring us into Adobe Photoshop right here. See an image right here that I've taken, and I want to go ahead and invoke the filter and kind of show you some things that we can do here. So we've already processed this in Adobe Camera Raw. I basically have gotten it the way I wanted it to look. So let's go up to Filter, and they've added a Studio 2 tab here because it's installed, and we'll go ahead and get it started. Oh, one thing right before we get started here, this is one thing too. It is not, if you have your image in Photoshop just as a background layer, it does ask that you transfer that over to just a standard layer. So we're going to convert that from a background layer to a standard layer. Not sure why that is, but that is one thing that I forgot there that popped up. So we'll go ahead, now that we've adjusted that, we'll go ahead and open up the Studio 2 program, and there it is right there. So you'll see a couple things. Here's your zooming controls. We can zoom into 100%, fit and view. You can look at the original, I guess, before you made any edits. And here's the main area right over here. So you see Add Look and Add Filter, and of course you see right here where it says Photoshop image. This is actually a layers area right here. So here's the original Photoshop image, and as we add effects, they'll actually get stacked on top, and then we can move them around just like we would, for example, in Adobe Photoshop. So I think I'm going to go actually ahead and start over here with Add Look. And this kind of looks a lot similar to that Adjust AI product we looked at last week. So I can do all sorts of presets here. I'm going to try and find kind of a dreamy look right here. I'm trying to remember which one I looked at before. Let's go ahead and do this one here, the Dream Cloud look. It takes a second for it to apply, and there we go. So kind of a subtle effect there, and you can see a mount right here. So I've got it set at full effect. We can drag this down if we would prefer and make it a little bit less. You do have to wait for it to refresh before you can see it, but I'm going to go ahead and leave it at about 100% right there. We'll go ahead and hit apply. Now that is a very basic filter right there. There obviously are some ones that were more comprehensive, but I was trying to give that a good look over there for you, just so you can see. Now there's a couple things you see in here, Dream Cloud, and then of course it's actually added some effects. So there's a dehaze filter that's added, as well as a radiance filter, which I guess is how the Dream Cloud look was created. So I could go over here to radiance, for example, and say, you know what, let's make it more radiant. So I can go in here and pull up my strength. That's probably going to make it a little bit more glowy. Now that's probably too much, but let's go ahead and bring that back down. There we go, something a little bit more realistic there. Let's give it a second to refresh. Again, we're working on a 2019 MacBook Pro, 16 gigs of memory. So this is, a decently powerful computer. I do find this moves a little bit faster than some of the other plugins, though, that Topaz offers. A lot of their products are pretty resource intensive. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and get our Dream Cloud. Let's go ahead and add a filter. Now this is a little bit more basic. Those looks add all sorts of filters together to create a look, hence the name, I guess. The filter is a little bit more specific. So I think I'm going to go ahead, let's go ahead and do black and white, let's say. And it's going to take a second there, but as you can see while we're waiting, it does add a black and white mixture there, because of course black and white images really do have color in them. So for example, the greens, which is the majority of this image, I can make the greens in this case darker, or I can make them lighter if I was, really wanted to do that. In fact, I think I may do that a little bit there. Let's make it a little bit lighter. And let's see. Yeah, we can go about there or so. Now, let's say, for example, you know what? I want this to be a black and white image, but I don't want the entire image to be black and white. Can we do that? And the answer is yes. They actually have a masking tool, which if we go up here, you see this little Add Mask to Layer button. We can go ahead and hit that. And you'll see some options here. We can go just do a basic brush, or we can do, you know, like luminosity, select a certain brightness area of the image and make that an entire mask, or do a specific color, you know, only select greens and make those a mask. But I think I'm going to go ahead and just do the brush. And there is an option here to do edge aware, which basically it's going to guess, you know, what I might want to select, maybe the leaf as opposed to not the background. I'm going to go ahead and leave that on. And we can go ahead and use keys on our keyboard, those little paragraph keys, to make this thing bigger or smaller. I guess that's the biggest it's going to let us do. Let's go ahead and bring the softness down there. That's like the feather in Photoshop there. See that green line? That's where the mask will start to fade off. So I'm going to go ahead and actually bring that down. And I think actually I'm trying to make this particular area right here actually in color. So that requires me to create a mask. And as I paint the mask, what this will do is actually make it so the green will actually shine through there. So let's see what we can throw together here, you know. Little quick thing. I'm trying to show you all the features, not saying you necessarily want to do this. In fact, you know what? Let's do this. Let's go ahead and get all the green in. I might regret this later, but you know, it's just kind of to show you the features of the program. This is not going to be a necessarily super realistic image, but that's okay. There we go. That's actually a pretty good estimation. I mean, it's not perfect, but you know, we got a decent amount. We probably have to fix that up there or so. But you know, it is what it is there. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that like that. But, you know, this is kind of becoming kind of a, you know, kind of a sparkly little image. So I want to go ahead and maybe add some more filters there. So I'm going to go ahead and add a filter. And let's go ahead and do brightness and contrast. I think I do want to make it a little bit brighter. And actually a little more contrasty, I should say. Woo, that's really doing it there now, isn't it? Okay, that's pretty good. Let's go ahead and maybe add some more dramatic effects there. Let's see, basic adjustment, let's see what's in there. Here we go, so I can, like, you know, edit my shadows and make those disappear a little bit more, for instance. Is it really doing much? Let's see, bring it down, there it is. I can see the background kind of popping out there. There we go. And you know what I want to do, let's try and make this even need a little more. Let's go ahead and add another filter. And let's see, which one was it there? I think I want to go ahead and add a radiance filter, which I think was actually part of that initial look we did. Let's go ahead and add another one so I can really play around with it here. And let's go ahead and bring that strength up. It's really going to make it kind of like a lightning look, which let's see if that looks any cool there. Okay. You know, we need more than that. We need more than that. We don't want to go the full effect, but we need more than that. Let's see. Ooh, gosh, it's kind of hard to fiddle around with this thing, and it takes a second to refresh. I guess that would be one criticism of the program there. You know, I guess you know what we're going to do? I'm going to type in a figure and see. Let's do 0.08 and see what that does for us. And how about 0.07? What does that give us? Let's go ahead and settle on 0.07. You know, maybe that's what an alien planet looks like there or something. Let's go ahead and add one more filter, and then I think I'm going to close this particular image out. That's going to be a vignette. I really want to focus the attention there on the particular image just a little bit more. So let's go ahead and say, I don't think I want it to be quite that big. So I guess I have to go the other way to make it, you know, bow out a little bit there. There we go. And strength, I don't know what that's really going to do for us. Probably going to make it more of a dramatic effect. Yeah, not doing too much there. Okay, let me do one other thing too. If you go down here, you'll notice one other thing. There's a crop tool, which I guess has been cut out because maybe we've done so many filters. But if you see right here, there's a healing brush. Now, you may have noticed last week on my Adjust AI review, it didn't have a healing brush. So if I had any blemishes in the image, well, I needed to edit those before I brought it into the program or do it afterwards. So it's just a little mark right up here. It's probably just a mark on the leaf. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can't make this a little bit bigger, this brush. And I was trying to do it with the keyboard, but it wasn't cooperating with me. Let's see, we'll go ahead and see what this is going to do. It's going to take a second. Obviously, there's the progress bar. We hit the button. Let's see how long it takes to do it. Not as fast as Photoshop. But boom, yeah, there it's gone. So we're good to go. You know, it's kind of an otherworldly image. Let's go ahead and hit accept, and it's going to bring it back into Adobe Photoshop. And we'll go into our history. We can go back and forth. So here was the original. And here's the Topaz Studio 2 look. So if you want to make an otherworldly image, a lot of little options right there. And I really did like how everything was stacked together. It made it, you could also do that masking to reveal layers below and erase it in certain areas. So that was a nice feature to have. So, you know, lots of fun there. But let's do something a little bit more realistic. That was a little bit more abstract than I would probably normally do. So we'll go ahead and get out of that. Let's go back into my bridge. And I'm going to pull up this black and white image here of a kind of a store in New Mexico. I think it's in Albuquerque there. So I'm going to go ahead, before I do anything, I'm going to make my background layer a standard layer, because for some reason, again, it does not like it to be a background layer. We'll go ahead and invoke the plugin again through the filter tab there in Photoshop. And this is going to be a lot simpler. So I'm going to go ahead and say, you know, let's go ahead and add a look. And let's see what I can come up with here. I think there was something down here. Yeah, here it was, cool fairy wings. Kind of gives you this nice Sienna type look, but definitely a little bit too much there, I think. So I'm going to go ahead, maybe pull the effect on the filter down just a little bit, about there, and I'll go ahead and hit apply. There we go. And again, you can see what particular filters were added to make that look. So I'm going to go down to basic adjustment and say, you know what, I don't think I want to bring up the exposure. So I'm going to go ahead, let's go ahead and just get rid of that, zero that out. And highlights, I'm going to need to back down on those. Let's see what it's going to do here for us. I think it's still processing. Again, that's something that did kind of fool me and trick me a couple times. I think an edit's done and it hasn't. And it's like, oh gosh, all of a sudden something changes. You know what, I'm going to see, try and bring that exposure down just a little bit more. Let's see, let's keep working at it. Bring it down, bring it down. I just want this building to be completely blown out. That would be my only criticism here. You know what, let's go ahead and get out of that. I'm just going to go ahead and add a filter and see what I can do here. Let's do, oh, how about curves? Here's a curve thing, so I can go in here and say, you know what, let's go ahead and bring that down. Woo, come on. Get down there. There we go. Now we're getting some results. So let me go ahead. Woo. So you see what I meant there? Again, it takes a while to refresh. Let's go actually bring it back up. Let's let it do its thing. Once that blue bar goes away, we know we're safe. Okay. Bring it closer. There we go. And I think I'm going to actually make a point up here for highlights. Let's see if we can just edit those individually. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Perfect. Okay, now let's do a couple other things here. I think I'm going to go ahead and add a vignette, because that'll be nice to make it kind of more classic black and white film look right there. And where is my vignette? Oh, there we go. Vignette, we'll do that. Let's see what the preset's going to look like here. And that's probably a bit too much. Let's go ahead and bring that vignette a little bit out. There we go, just a subtle vignette. I think that's pretty good right there. And maybe one other thing, I'm just trying to see, do they have a saturation already? No, I don't think they do. So I'm going to go ahead and let's see if I can find this saturation. I think it's under basic adjustment. Yeah, there we go. And we'll go ahead and just take a little bit of that blue out by decreasing saturation. Make it kind of a nice settled look there. Okay. Hey, I'm pretty happy with that. Let me see. The only thing I could wish maybe is if there was more blue up here as opposed to down here, but we could probably fool around for half an hour and try and figure that out. But I think for now, that's a pretty good image. I'm going to go ahead and hit accept. And let's take a look at it here. Boom, there we go. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do fit screen there, go over to history. And that's where we started, you know, decent image, very interesting. But here's something where I know it's not subtle, but it's a lot more subtle than what we did before here. I really love that blue and that kind of old look that it added there. So again, that is a couple images we've looked at, Topaz Studio 2. I definitely think it's a little bit more useful than Adjust AI, just because you have more options there. Although I think there were a few things in Adjust AI that don't exist in Topaz Studio 2. So if you're really interested, I probably recommend you download those trial versions, and there'll be a link down there where you can get that. So again, what's my verdict? If you like really creative looking images, go ahead and get it. But if you're more into probably more basic imaging, you know, it may not be quite as much for you. So you have to decide there. But, you know, let me know down in the comments what you think. Is this something that you would enjoy using or not? So anyway, that is our review today on Topaz Studio 2. As always, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel because it really helps us out a lot. And I do appreciate it. You have a good one. Bye-bye.